Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Better, Brighter You segment brought to you by Cyspera, the first and only clinically proven topical pigment corrector that helps reduce stubborn discoloration without hydroquinone or retinoids. Today, we're diving into the world of skin health through the eyes of one of the most trailblazing women in dermatology, unpacking the clinical, the cultural, and the confidence building power of glow. We're going to chat from skin science to social standards with Dr. Jeanine Downie. We're going to cover hyperpigmentation, womanhood, and why even and smooth skin is a radical form of self-care. Joining us today is one of the most respected medical voices in dermatology. Dr. Downie is a board-certified dermatologist and the founder of Image Dermatology P.C. right here in Montclair, New Jersey. She completed her training at Tufts University, American University, SUNY Downstate, and Mount Sinai. Oh my goodness, the accolades just keep coming. Where she served as chief resident. She's been a trusted expert for the Today Show, The View, Good Morning America, 710 WOR, MSNBC, and she's the co-host of The Gist Show on YouTube. She's also the author of Beautiful Skin of Color, a go-to resource for melanin-rich skin, and an advocate for real results rooted in both science and empathy with over 110 published scientific papers and counting. She's not going to stop there. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey there. So nice to be with you, Zen. Thank you for having me back.
So excited. So before we dive in, welcome back to the show. You are one of our experts on the microphone. I can't wait to chat with you. I want to, before we get into the details of skin and hyperpigmentation, I want to chat breaking barriers in dermatology. Only about 3% of dermatologists in the United States are skin of color. And according to the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology, that has been updated 2 years in a row. The number is even lower when you consider women in that subset, making your presence and leadership in this field profoundly impactful. But I'd love to know, what obstacles or even challenges did you have to overcome to enter and rise in such a competitive, really underrepresented field? And what continues to drive you?
You're very sweet. So to be accurate, as an African-American female physician here in the United States, I represent 2% of all physicians in the United States. And then as an African-American female physician who is a dermatologist, I am 1.3%. So I'm 2% of 1.3%, which is just, kind of crazy. So I am a unicorn. That being said, I'm the first African-American woman to ever train at Mount Sinai in the Department of Dermatology. The first African-American man was in 1968. And then they had nobody African-American for years. And we are considered still in dermatology today, URM, so underrepresented minorities. And then, as we both know, what matters is patient representation and patient outcomes and health equity for all, not just for some. Dermatology is the hardest thing to get when you're entering medical school. A lot of people want to be dermatologists. It's very difficult. And I worked really, really, really hard. My mother, one of the greatest indicators of somebody becoming a physician is their parents are already physicians. My mother was the first African-American female to graduate from medical school here in the state of New Jersey in 1960. It was 7 white women and my mom, and they were told, you should be nurses, you should go home, you're taking a man's job, all that good stuff. And they were like, yeah. About like most of them are 89 or 90 right now, and some of them still see patients, including my mother, like I said, who's a pediatrician. And then her father before her was a dentist back in the roaring days of Harlem. So I grew up with medicine, kind of science on the brain and on my mind. And my grandfather, who was my sweetheart, and my mom, who was, my advisor, they both really inspired me. And so when I would come to my mom and say, this crazy racist thing happened, or this crazy sexist thing happened, I got great advice. And I also got some of the, oh, please, and just press on, get it done and get it done. And so part of my family legacy was upholding and supporting what my grandfather and my mother both wanted me to do. So it was a matter of pride. I already had the intelligence, I already had the brains. And it's fascinating these days because a lot of people feel like oh, well, maybe somebody doesn't deserve to have that position. That's not, the case at all for most people that are skin of color. Black, Latino, Native American are underrepresented
Yeah.
in dermatology. Um, Most of us have killed ourselves to get into the field. And now, like you said, I published 110 papers and I'm in private practice. I'm not even in academics. So that's unusual. I've lectured on every continent except Antarctica. And, the penguins don't need
Oh my
dermatology.
goodness.
Yeah, we need help with them with global warming.
Yeah.
I love my media stuff. I'm trying to, write another book. And I do tons and tons of clinical trials, and I laser focus on cosmetic clinical trials and try to be inclusive and get more brown and black people into those clinical trials so we can have better broad-based results. And
Which
again, this
which
goes back to
brings me
health
to the
equity.
next question. I mean, you have a very powerful lineage, and thank you for taking us behind the curtain. And what you've built, without a doubt, is so much more than a career. It's a legacy, and it's giving permission to the next generation of girls to see themselves in that white coat, right? The female factor in patient care is what I want to talk about next. So there's something uniquely empathetic about female practitioners, and I
Mhm.
say that as a woman who personally seeks out female dermatologists, whether it's body image, hormonal changes, or emotional nuance. Many of us just feel more seen by another woman. All
Are
right.
you?
And maybe there's listeners out there that disagree, but in your view, how does being a woman influence the way you treat your patients and how you show up? Do you find that it shapes your approach to care emotionally, culturally, or even intuitively differently?
It does. And, I have to be honest. I mean, I was taught a bedside manner from the time I was younger. So I always smile. It's the good morning. It's the good afternoon. It's the how are you doing? It's the shaking the hand or the elbow thump. But there's a level of warmth with a lot of my female doctors that I have been told that I also possess. And there's a level of connectivity. The doctor has to or should connect with you, look at what your issues are, look at what your problems are, and then try to help you figure out what to do and what not to do to get to your healthcare goals. And that's one of the things that I think females are uniquely qualified to do. We are very, very, very empathetic by nature. And I'm not saying that men aren't empathetic, so don't misunderstand me. But what I'm saying is we were taught empathy from a very, very young age. And so I think that really helps to play into every single female physician I see. And that definitely interplays with me, Zen.
Now let's shift the conversation to hyperpigmentation and gender differences. So hyperpigmentation remains one of the top concerns in dermatology, especially for patients with deeper skin tones. But women often face unique triggers, whether it's hormonal changes, pregnancy, and even stress. All these we know can amplify these conditions. So how does hyperpigmentation affect women differently than men? And why is it so important that we understand the gender specific biology behind it?
A lot of times men will come in and present with a much more significant case of hyperpigmentation slash dark patches slash melasma than women because they've waited so long. In terms of the biology, Cyspera, the 5% and the 7%, can treat both men and women. But interestingly enough, many men come in and it's so far gone that they need additional, methods of treatment. They need, like constant sunscreen, and they need the fade cream, and maybe they need chemical peels because they let it go so long. Whereas the woman came right in when you could barely see it on the tip of her nose type of thing. Men
Right.
also tend to have thicker skin than women, so then for they can tolerate some, a little bit more rough or harsh treatment. So that's also what's important per your question about the biology.
Now, let's be honest, society holds women to a much higher aesthetic standard than men, from the wrinkle free skin to glass skin trends. I mean, the pressure is unrelenting, and yet men are often celebrated for aging while women are told to reverse it. So, do you believe women are held? And I know what you're going to answer, but I want you to walk us through your thought process.
Right.
Women are held to unfair standards of beauty. How do you navigate this reality? It's a reality in the way you consult and care for your patients.
I tell my female patients that come in here that are hypercritical of themselves that they're human. And at the end of the day, they are human and I am human. And, if you have hyperpigmentation, it's part of getting older and it's part of sun damage. So I talk to them about using proper blue light sunscreens. Like the ZO has a broad spectrum sunscreen that I really like a lot. Skin Medica has one called TDNR, Total Defense and Repair, that I also recommend. I like the Cyspera a lot, and it works really well, whatever dark patches it is that they have. So Cyspera is done under doctor's orders. And then as we go along, I increase the length of time that they can leave it on their face. A lot of my female patients, once I tell them they're human, I'm human, but well, look at your skin, Dr. Downie. Yeah, but I've used sunblock since I'm 20, and you've never used sunblock until today. So let's not compare, but let's move forward. And I always tell my female patients in particular, we are where we are. Now we need to move forward.
Now, melasma, hormones, and emotional skin. Melasma is a notoriously stubborn condition, especially for us women. It's tied to hormonal shifts, sun exposure, genetics. I mean, it's often emotionally draining to manage. The Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology even found that melasma patients report significantly higher emotional distress than those with acne. It was a crazy study. Why is melasma so gendered in its impact? How do women differ anatomically, hormonally, and emotionally when it comes to dermatological care?
You see melasma much more in women than you do in men. And originally it was thought of as the pregnancy eruption that comes up. And the reality is a lot of people have never been pregnant and still have melasma. So that's not it at all. It's hormonal fluctuations plus sun damage, plus stress that can put these patches on your face. And then there's the female boss saying to somebody that works for her, hey, is that dirt on your face? Of course it's not dirt. Of course that person took a shower. But that's why there's so much emotional burden to this, because so many people feel like, oh my God, I don't look clean. I don't look healthy. And men can have melasma also, but they don't have it in the same numbers that women do at all. And they will have dark patches. Perhaps they're picking pimples. Perhaps they have razor bumps down here, that type of thing. So they'll come in for that type of thing. But by and far, women have much, much more melasma due to our hormones than men do. If you add in IUDs or birth control pills or some other type of hormonal form of birth control, then the melasma can get worse. And then there's genetics. Melasma runs in my family.
Wow. You've just given so many listeners a sigh of relief. Number one, because understanding the science behind their struggle makes it feel less personal and more manageable. And that's such an important distinction. So I love all the knowledge we're sharing today. Now let's chat from glow goals to game plans. Some patients arrive with specific concerns, like you just said, the dark spot, texture, tone. Others, I'm sure, come in simply saying, I want to look better. I mean, in either case, the desire for healthy, even skin is often at the root, like you said. We've been chatting about Cyspera today, but products like Cyspera, backed by all their clinicals that are very inclusive, by the way, have changed the game when it comes to addressing this quote unquote discoloration without the harsh side effects. When you guide your patients, especially those without a clear request, toward meaningful results in tone and texture, what are your go-to treatments when it comes to building a bright, balanced foundation? I mean, Cyspera is one of them. What else do you have in your toolbox?
So when they come in the office, optimally, they would bring in everything that they're using. So I can look at what's science-backed and what's science-based. Like you said before, Zen, if it's not science-backed and it's not science-based, I am completely uninterested. And I'm also uninterested in what spa product they got when they were either overseas or in Arizona or wherever they were, because a lot of the spa products, they smell great and they feel great and they have no clinical science behind them. So they can actually wind up being very, very irritating. So I have them bring in everything. I talk to them about blue light from their phone and their computer, and I talk to them about visible light and how that can activate your melanocytes. Mine originally got activated because I'm an ex-lifeguard, an ex-swim instructor, an ex-swim champ. So my teenage years were spent baking in the New Jersey sun. And then at 20, I developed melasma, which is really early. Most people, not until like their 30s, but me, 20, yay. And so I tell everybody the same thing. I've been dealing with this for forever. I refuse to wear 2 pounds of makeup. So I take them through cleansers that lightly exfoliate that might be enzymatic, like Restorsi. I take them through moisturizers that help to even out their skin tone, like Sente Dermal Repair. I take them through sunscreens that protect against blue light, because a lot of the over-counter sunscreens do not protect against blue light, like the ZO sunscreens or the Total Defense and Repair from Skin Medica. I take them through the Cyspera that I want them to use when they get home for 5 to 15 minutes on their face and much longer on their body. We do peel pads that they do at home. There's a lot of other fading cream treatments that I use along with the Cyspera. Those would be like the Obagi vitamin C hydroquinone or the ZO pigment control and blending. So I have a lot in my repertoire. Here in the office, we do the eye peels. We're about to start doing the ZO 3-step peels. We do rejuvenize peels. And then I do tons of laser. The Laser MD system is a thulium, so that helps specifically with pigmentation. I have something called a multifrax that's dual, that helps with pigmentation. And then, of course, I have the big bad Fraxel that I use also. And all of those things are good for all skin types because I try to be very, very inclusive with what I use in my practice so that everybody can use it, Zen. So I have weapons in my armamentarium to help to fight hyperpigmentation like crazy because I suffer from it also. And then I tell them, if you don't reapply your sunblocks in, like, pretty much, I mean, it depends on how hot the day is, but even in the middle of the winter, if I'm driving somewhere and it's raining sideways and it's sleeting, I'm still reapplying my sunblock. But, this time of year with the weather getting warmer, I tell everybody, reapply the sunblock like it's going out of business or else.
Now, your face is your best accessory. I mean, you have to talk about fashion. We have to talk about fashion. I see you at New York Fashion Week. We bump into each other. You're always styling. You bring style to science like no one else. And
I have a Dior one for you today, love, with the Dior necklace, just because.
I love it. You dress up for me. I love the flirting. And you once said that your face is your best accessory, and I couldn't agree more. So tell me about your love of fashion and how it intersects with your brand of beauty. Was that influence part of your clinic's ethos from the start?
My grandmother was a bit of a style icon, and I would see her going out with her first stole on and her super high heels and her pencil skirts. And so from the time, and that's the first person I ever saw with, I was like, what are those clovers, Van Cleef?
The clovers.
What are those clovers?
Yep.
I mean, the perception of a child. So she was very much of a style icon. So, I mean, I love fashion. Purple's my favorite color. So I had a good purple nail on for you today. So that uplifts me and it makes me happy, and it supports my whole, like kind of brain wiring of my brain. When you come into my practice, my door is painted purple, because, like Elizabeth Arden had a red door, Dr. Jeanine Downie has a purple door. So come enter into my purple door and let me see what I have. And getting back to fashion, I'm sensible and I'm smart with fashion. I don't go with the latest trends. I go with what looks good on me. I am big on a mini skirt. Zen, I did ballet for like a million years, and I still run too much, probably for my knee, but like about 15 miles a week. And then I do a lot of Peloton as well. So I like my legs and I wear a lot of short skirts. So I look at what the short skirt styles are. Then I try to always be professional. So if the legs are out, then this part is not, type of thing. So, you cover up a little. And then for me, it's about comfort, fashion, beauty. I'll wear kitten heels or flats during the day. I have really fun. Wait, can you see them?
Hey, yeah, I can see them. They're very, I love the white and gold.
Some good Valentino sneakers on today. But then tonight, I have to go run and do something at our Montclair Art Museum. So I'll have on kitten heels for that later. But I always tell my patients, as you get over 50 and your feet start wearing out like flat tires, sure, you can put Voluma as filler in there, which is something that I cheat and do. It hurts for like a day and a half.
Oh my God.
It lasts for years. Worth it. But I tell them, start treating yourself properly. And then it's like the simple things with fashion. Zen, you know full well, if you sit up and you look a certain way rather than slumping and you look another way, right? Look at your carriage right now. Like your carriage is beautiful like mine. You said, so I instruct my patients that come in here that are low self-confidence. I put my finger in their back like my ballet teacher, and I tell them to stand up straight. And I explain to them that if they don't believe in themselves and their own style and their own best face forward, then who else is going to? And your face is your most important accessory because you carry it with you every day. And this is what people see. So forget about the bag and forget about the shoes. It's your face first, because that's what people see. And in this very fast moving society, sometimes the first look is the only look that people take of you. And that's not fair. But that's the way it is.
You're 100% right. People judge a book by its cover. Everything that glitters is gold to the to the average onlooker. And
Mhm.
I think you do have to look under the hood a little bit to get to the substance. But like you said, the magic is right there. I mean,
Right.
you're showing people that style, skin, and science can all
Mhm.
coexist. You're not
Mhm.
just a dermatologist, you're a full spectrum visionary. I love it.
Mhm.
Well, we are at the end. This did turn into a 20-minute podcast at this point. I could talk to you all day.
I could talk to you all day also.
I thank you so much for coming on. You're a being of beacon of brilliance, and we are in an industry, specifically you, that desperately needs your voice. I mean, you've redefined what it means to care for skin through truth, compassion, and clinical precision, and that's why I love having you on.
Thank you so much, Zen, and I really enjoy being here.
That was the Better, Brighter You segment, brought to you by Cyspera, backed by science, powered by skin, and trusted by the top dermatologists around the world. That was the incredible Dr. Jeanine Downie. You could head directly to her website at imagedermatology.com. They're located right here in the tri-state area in Montclair, New Jersey. And do check her out on the gram. You're going to love her page, filled with insight, style, and a lot of great fashion tips, at Jeanine Downie. And on YouTube, it's The Gist Show. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Cyspera. If skin discoloration is making it hard to find your Zen, Cyspera can help. Stubborn pigmentation, dark spots, and uneven skin tone concerns go beyond the surface, affecting both confidence and self-expression. In a sea of skincare choices, Cyspera stands apart. Backed by science and trusted by dermatologists worldwide, Cyspera is powered by the advanced cysteamine isobonic amide complex, delivering clinically proven results and effectively targeting mild to persistent discoloration while restoring the skin's natural glow. Unlike harsh treatments, Cyspera is formulated for all skin types, including sensitive areas, ensuring visible improvements without irritation. Whether pigmentation is a new concern or a long-standing struggle, Cyspera works in harmony with the skin to bring balance, clarity, and renewed confidence. Cyspera is science-driven skincare for confidence that shines. Find your skin zen and restore your glow with Cyspera today by heading to Cyspera.com.